Ayers on your left, Cesari on your right, and we are going to watch our final round of Swiss action right now.
Yeah, so Daryl's opponent, Paolo Cesari, he's on Grixis Delver. Start out, Daryl's just on a Rishadan Port.
Scalding Tarn here for Cesari.
Let's see. One thing of Daryl does not, either lacking in exploration or lacking the green mana with which to ramp in the early game. This provides an opportunity for Paolo to get early damage in, and that damage is going to be really relevant, especially in game one when he doesn't have a way to hate out to the Loam engine.
It is very notable that Cesari is starting off with this Ponder, so no creature to begin things, just a little bit of manipulation. As for Daryl's side of things, it's notable that he's starting off with a port for the reasons that you mentioned. Very rarely we see land start off with just a port and say go.
Right. It's definitely a weaker start, so presuming Daryl's on a 7, I'm expecting some strong follow-up here.
Tranquil Thicket to draw. Thespian Stage into port your Volcanic Island.
So my guess here is if he's willing to keep something on of Rishadan Port, Thespian Stage, no Mox Diamond, no exploration, he may just naturally have the Dark Depths combo in the opener, and that would be something strong enough to make, I think, a player consider keeping it.
It feels like that sort of hand, because he is really not up to much else. Pluto Delta going to be sacrificed. Cesari going to go down to 18. There's an Underground Sea.
We'll see what threat he does have. Did lose his land on the upkeep there. Grixis Delver is a more robust version of Delver, but it certainly isn't fast. You see no creature on the second turn either.
A Tranquil Thicket, pass the turn back.
And this is interesting, such an anemic start from Daryl.
The deck is so much more explosive than this with Exploration, Mana Bond, Life in the Loam, Gamble, all that stuff, and he's just playing a really boring game. I mean, if I'm Paolo here, I am feeling as though, okay, a 2020 is on the way next turn.
Yeah, the land drop's going to be Dark Depths.
Either that or you didn't have a green mana to play early in the game. That's really it.
I guess he could have crop rotation, and then any land would work too.
Sure, there is a crop rotation in Daryl's hand right now.
And he's porting the Underground Sea. We may get a chance to look at what Daryl's holding. Jataxian Probe in Paolo's hand.
There's a Scalding Tarn.
Oh, but does Paolo have any creature yet?
Yep, here's a Brainstorm.
And these cantrips are nice, but really not what he needs.
Yeah, if he doesn't have an answer to a 2020, nothing he's doing even really matters.
Yeah, for all the card drawing and shuffling he's done, he may just get clocked.
2 cards going back. Brainstorm done resolving.
Yeah, in the main deck for Paolo, there is not a way for him to deal with the 2020.
Cesari going to sacrifice the fetch land.
I guess ideally he would find a wasteland to get rid of Thespian Stage.
Another Volcanic Island. Anything else here for Paolo?
He has a Forked Bolt. Yeah, he's going to use the Gitaxian Probe.
Yeah. Show me that Dark Depths.
There we go.
There it is.
Dark Depths, yeah, and Life from the Loam. So he has the natural combo and resiliency. And Tabernacle, that Pendrel Veil.
Yeah, just in case. It's a good hand.
I mean, Paolo hasn't played a creature, so there hasn't been a need to Tabernacle it. A lot of Rishadan ports.
I know it's a slow hand for Daryl, but it's a good hand, especially in the matchup. There's a Ponder. If I'm Ayers next turn, I am playing Dark Depths, and I am activating it on my turn right away, so I don't have to worry about any stifle nonsense.
Yeah, now Grixis Delver, it is not common for the deck to play Stifle, but I don't believe instant versus sorcery speed on the Dark Depths combo is going to matter here.
Now, you know, the trade-off here is a card that you're kind of worried about if you do it on your own main phase is Jace. But I prefer in the matchup just to play around Stifle. Daryl does too, so he's going to get an Avatar token, pass the turn back. And just say, hey, beat it.
There you go, it's 2020. I don't believe Paolo has a way to beat it. He'll look at Daryl's hand to gain more info. Mana Bond was the draw. But Daryl stunned the play, making 4 lands. Might be good enough.
Yeah, no, this was super straightforward. And this is why this deck has a good matchup against Grixis Delver, at least game 1. You just saw what Ayers did there. Nothing impressive. Assuming making a 2020 on turn 4 doesn't impress you. Nothing impressive at all. Just land, port you a couple of times, make a 2020 on my main phase. You can't beat this. That's it. And that's why Ayers was up a game very quickly here against Paolo Cesari. Lands up a game against Grixis Delver. Now, we saw with the Grixis control deck that we saw a little bit earlier against Ayers, where there were a lot of sideboard cards and a lot of hate. Does Cesari have those cards as you take a look at the deck list?
So let's look at Paolo's sideboard then. He has 2 copies of Surgical Extraction, 1 copy of Pithing Needle, but that's actually it here. Does not have anything like, as we saw, like Blood Moon or Nile's Spellbomb. The 2 Surgical Extractions are his only graveyard hate. He does have more copies of things like Spell Pierce and Flusterstorm, which can interact with lands, but otherwise that's what he's working with.
The other side of things here for Ayers, we've gone over the sideboard a couple of times, as we've seen Daryl on camera a few times this weekend, but 4 Crows and Grips, 4 Trinispheres, 2 Chokes, 2 Chalice of the Void, a Caracas, a Bajuka Bog, and a Molten Vortex. We saw Choke against the Grixis control deck, and I imagine it's going to come in here again.
Yeah, I think Choke will work. Molten Vortex also seems very good. The Grixis Delver deck is almost entirely full of X2s. Outside of 1 True Name Nemesis and 1 Gurmag Angler, it can really shut down Paolo's attack.
Well, pretty straightforward stuff for both players. I don't expect sideboard to take very long, so while they do get ready here for game number 2, we will talk about the Next Level Library. 2 books written by Patrick Chapin, the innovator, the Hall of Famer, the 2-time World's runner-up, and of course, the Pro Tour champion. Somehow, in that busy schedule of his, he finds time to write articles and books, and these 2 are fantastic in Next Level Magic and Next Level Deck Building. They're for all skill levels, available in paperback and ebook. And best of all, they're available now at StarCityGames.com/nextlevel for more information. I know you've got a copy of Next Level Deck Building. I have one at home as well.
Yeah. That one the more recent one, very good stuff from Patrick Chapin.
Doesn't surprise you. One of Magic's best writers, one could argue the best Magic writer of all time. Great articles, always lengthy, and the book is filled with new examples, a lot of pictures, and just a lot of great Magic theory. Especially Next Level Deck Building, a deck I have read from front to back. Again, StarCityGames.com/nextlevel for more information. As we get ready for game number 2, watch Daryl Ayers. Legacy Open champion earlier this year during Season 1 when we were in Philadelphia. Got the job done with Teamer Delver and his Curd Apes there. Hard not to make fun of those Curd Apes now, given the format, but we swear they were good then. We swear they were good then. It was a different time, different cards. We swear they were good.
Legacy's constantly changing.
It's a rotating format. Bunch of new cards to try.
You don't even know.
So they're going to start off with a Deathrite Shaman. Very good card in this matchup. A Forest, here's an Exploration for Ayers.
Hoping to dodge something like Daze. Maybe Force of Will. Daze would be snapped off by Paolo here.
Force of Will. Not as quick, but wants to get Exploration off the battlefield.
Still has to do it. See Paolo choosing turn 1 Deathrite Shaman over Delver of Secrets. Another nod to lands there.
This is a Brainstorm. 3 cards coming, 2 will go back momentarily. Good start here for Cesari. Deathrite Shaman on the battlefield, Force of Will to take care of an explosive card like Exploration.
All right,
Pluto Delta the land.
Yeah, and the Brainstorm was able to help him find Young Pyromancer, so he can get a clock going faster. He has some disruption in Deathrite Shaman. It's a good start for Paolo.
He'll sacrifice that Pluto Delta. See what land he wants to search up. Probably a Volcanic Island, and it is.
Just remember, the Deathrite Shaman will keep things in check on Daryl's side until Daryl finds something like either Punishing Fire or a Molten Vortex to get rid of the 1/2. Alternatively, if he has a Tranquil Thicket, he can use Life from the Loam and keep it protected with Tranquil Thicket. That one's a little more down the line, though. It costs a lot of mana.
There is that Pyromancer. Ayers will draw. Has a Wasteland in hand. We'll find out what else momentarily.
Looks like he has a copy of Exploration.
That appears to be the case. Misty Rainforest, pass the turn back.
All right. Daryl getting ahead on lands. Paolo going to try to get ahead on creatures instead. You know, Daryl not using the Wasteland there. Perhaps it's if he has an answer to the Deathrite Shaman, he doesn't want the Wasteland in his graveyard just yet, because that would give Paolo a chance to exile it.
There's Ponder, elemental token on the way. Cesari will take a look at 3 cards. See if he wants to keep them or not. He'll leave them on top, take a draw. Wasteland the draw here. I think Pyromancer are going to come across. Now here's another Ponder. Another elemental token.
And young Pyromancer can be very effective in the matchup, as it is hard for Daryl to deal with creatures going wide outside of a card like Tabernacle. He can Glacial Chasm all of them. He can slowly pick them off with something like Punishing Fire or Molten Vortex.
It's a slow grind, though. There's Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn back. Ayers will draw.
Right, so now that he has his Wasteland,
Oh,
Wasteland
boy.
going, Thespian Stage and Dark Depths. So another way to possibly deal with all these creatures is to simply have a 20/20. Wasteland the play for Paolo. So Daryl did not go to make the 20/20 immediately for fear of Stifle. Now the Wasteland may be able to get in the way of that.
Well, Ayers is actually set up pretty well here because he can just start the chain right there.
Right, he'll waste Paolo's Wasteland. That forces action from Paolo. If he tries to waste either part of Daryl's combo, he will combo in response. Paolo with a Brainstorm. Can he find... Well, I'm not really certain what he's looking for. All of these are lands, so it makes it very difficult for any of this to interact.
This is why the deck has a good matchup against Grixis Delver.
There are no flyers he can block with. He has a Submerge in his list, and Daryl actually has a Forest in play.
All right. That's an out.
That's an out.
Cesari going to have to Wasteland back, but you can tell by the body language here, he is not thrilled with the situation he's in. Ayers is going to sacrifice his Misty Rainforest in response to this Wasteland target Thespian Stage, which means he'll get a land. That'll give him the 2nd mana to activate the Thespian Stage. Thespian Stage will copy Dark Depths, and you know how this combo works.
Yep.
Stage will have 0 counters. Dark Depths will be sacrificed because it is a legend, and then the Thespian Stage that'll go away too, and the Avatar will join the battlefield.
There's the 20/20 Merit Lage. This is on Paolo's end step, so Daryl will untap and swing for lethal.
Maybe. Paolo is sacrificing a fetch land. Perhaps he has something here.
We can see. Not certain what it would be.
It has to be Submerge, right? That's the out?
That's the out.
I don't even know if he brought Submerge in. Such a stretch.
It is. It's a way to deal with the 20/20.
Another Brainstorm. Well, he's hunting for something.
Does he get there? I do not see a Submerge. That's the only card in his list that works. And so it doesn't. Twice in a row, Paolo falls to the Merit Lage token. And for Daryl Ayers, that win will push him into the top 8.
There are some people who are in the top 8 that are not particularly happy about that. I think Dylan Donegan is one, and I think there is someone who's actually pretty pleased that lands in the top 8. And I'm talking about you, Brian Cook, and your Storm deck.
Right.
And for Shaheen Sarani, who's in top 8, well, I don't know what his good or bad matchups are.
I assume Daryl would be okay playing against Lingering Souls and
hey,
he'd be fine. Lands does not struggle with Stoneforge Mystic.